Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. They told you that love would save you, that it would be pure, redemptive, unconditional, that the right person would heal the cracks you never dared to face alone, the cracks carved deep since childhood, born of old stories and soft, persistent songs. They whispered a promise into your subconscious. One day someone would come and make everything okay. And you believed it, not because you were weak or naive, but because you were never given the tools to see through that illusion. What if that promise was never meant to be kept? What if the love you've been searching for is not the salvation you imagine, but rather a strategy, a calculated approach? Imagine that the very idea of unconditional love was designed to keep you dependent on a fantasy. Nietzsche, the philosopher you were warned to fear or misinterpret, never wrote fairy tales. Instead, nature wielded its pen like a scalpel, slicing through masks, myths, and the emotional comfort zones we construct around our fragile egos. When nature examined the way we relate to each other, it saw that the picture we hold is not always real or pure, but a product of survival, a system of influence rather than genuine care. Consider this. You might be in love not with who she truly is, but with a version of her that reflects who you wish you were. You love the feeling of validation her presence brings. You cherish the way it seems to confirm that you are enough. Yet validation is no substitute for authenticity. The love you crave may be a carefully curated illusion, a transaction where your vulnerabilities are quietly bartered away in exchange for fleeting moments of self-assurance. In this exchange, the promise of healing becomes an elaborate trap. It lulls you into surrendering your emotional agency, leaving you dependent on a mirage that never truly offers salvation. Women, shaped by a world that once denied them power, learned early to master influence through silence and subtlety. They were not born manipulators. They were forced to operate from the shadows to claim any sense of control. Thus, instead of relying on overt displays of emotion, they perfected the art of measured response and selective warmth. Meanwhile, the modern ideal of love has been distorted. You were raised to idealize, to place that person on a pedestal so high that you cannot see the reality beneath. You come to love the curated image, the mirror of your own ambitions and vulnerabilities, rather than the truth of who they are. What if you begin to see the bargain for what it is? What if you discover that the love which promises unconditional rescue is not about healing, but about keeping you tethered to an emotional debt? In truth, the promise of love in its most exalted form was never to serve as rescue, but as a challenge. It was meant to push you into discovering your own strength. The price of clinging to that familiar, seductive illusion is that you surrender not only your independence, but also your ability to grow and evolve. Instead of finding a partner who lifts you up, you find yourself trapped in a cycle of dependency. Every kind word becomes a reminder that you still need saving. The tools to see beyond this deception must come from within. Reclaim your power by learning to recognize that validation is not love. True connection, true freedom, begins when you stop surrendering your peace for external comfort. This may sound harsh, but the time has come to break the cycle. Build the inner resilience that allows you to question and dismantle the promises that were never yours to keep. Seek out the courage to see clearly, to understand that emotional security must come from your own strength, not from the sometimes cold calculations of another. When you face that truth, you learn to value yourself independently of others' adoration. You start to realize that the promise of saving love is not a universal cure, but a myth. It is, in fact, a form of control, one that feeds on your need for emotional rescue. Only when you equip yourself with the tools to see through these illusions can you build a relationship based on mutual empowerment. True love then becomes less about the dependency you once clung to and more about cultivating an inner strength that attracts genuine connection. A connection rooted in honest self-respect rather than in the shallow comfort of validation. Embrace the challenge of discovering who you truly are beneath the layers of expectation and illusion. Stand firm in the knowledge that your worth is defined by your ability to see the truth and act upon it. When you no longer surrender your energy to illusory promises, you step into a reality where love is not about being healed by another but about healing yourself first. This is the turning point. The moment you reclaim your emotional freedom and allow genuine partnership to blossom only when it is truly reciprocal. In that clarity, you will find that real connection, real love, comes from within and is free from the chains of dependency. Remember, the most profound transformation begins with a clear vision of the truth. Choose to see things as they are, free from the seductive mirage that once promised salvation. In this truth lies your power to transform not only your relationships but also your life. Embrace your independence, nurture your inner strength, and let the illusion fall away. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on your own patterns, unlearn what no longer serves you, and start building the tools to see clearly. True freedom begins with the courage to face the truth about love and yourself.